Zone Sports. Yes, it's yours truly, Anthony Smith with In the Zone. And a lot has happened since the last time I was on, and I'm going to try to cram as much in this episode as much as I can without overkill, but a lot has happened. And my lead-in story, this past week was the tragic passing of a young man. Some say gone way too soon. The passing of quarterback Dewayne Haskins, who died at the age of 24 after being hit by a car. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Dewayne Haskins died Saturday morning after he was hit by a car in South Florida, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. He was 24 years old. Haskins started only one season for the Ohio State Buckeyes, but led the team to a 13-1 record and a win in the Rose Bowl with 50 touchdown passes on the year. Haskins finished that season third in Heisman Trophy voting behind only quarterbacks Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa. That breakout success made Haskins one of the top quarterback prospects in the 2019 NFL Draft, and he was selected by Washington, at that time the Redskins, with the 15th overall pick. On Saturday, Steelers coach Mike Tomlin, Washington Commanders owner Dan and Tanya Snyder, and Commanders coach Ron Rivera all released statements. Statement from head coach Mike Tomlin. I'm devastated and at a loss for words with the unfortunate passing of Dewayne Haskins. He quickly became part of our Steelers family upon his arrival in Pittsburgh and was one of our hardest workers, both on the field and in our community. Dewayne was a great teammate, but even more so a tremendous friend to so many. I am truly heartbroken. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife, Calabria, and his entire family during this difficult time. Mike Tomlin, head coach. Washington Commanders at Commanders, statement from co-owners Dan and Tanya Snyder. On the passing of Dewayne Haskins Jr., we are devastated to hear the news of the tragic passing of Dewayne Haskins Jr. He was a young man with a tremendous amount of potential who had an infectious personality. To say we are heartbroken is an understatement. Our hearts and prayers are with the members of Dewayne's family and all of those who knew him and loved him. Statement from head coach Ron Rivera. I am absolutely heartbroken to hear the news of the passing of Dewayne Haskins Jr. Dewayne was a talented young man who had a long life ahead of him. This is a very sad time, and I am honestly at a loss for words. I know I speak for the rest of our team in saying he will be sorely missed. Our entire team if I could pull the rest of this up right now. Our entire team is sending our heartfelt condolences and thoughts and prayers to the Haskins family at this time. In 2 seasons with Washington, Haskins threw 12 touchdowns with 14 interceptions, and he was released near the end of his second season with the team. Haskins was scooped up by the Steelers a few weeks after his release and spent the 2021 season as the third-string quarterback behind Ben Roethlisberger and Mason Rudolph. In March, Pittsburgh retained Haskins by using a restricted free agent tender that was set to pay him $2.54 million in 2022. So that's the tragic news that we lead in with. Now, on the other hand, there were some remarks that were made that I'm going to go ahead and go on record and say it. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, as I am, there were some remarks that I would have to deem as beyond careless. I would have to deem them as just pure idiotic. And it almost makes me embarrassed to say that I'm a Cowboys fan. I was careless. Cowboys icon Gil Brandt apologizes for insensitive remarks on death of Dewayne Haskins. Gil Brandt is apologizing for his insensitive comments in the wake of the death of NFL quarterback Dewayne Haskins. The tragedy has caused many to mourn and a few to issue remarks that are earning blowback. Those few include the legendary Brandt, 90, who is retired from his Hall of Fame career as a Dallas Cowboy scout, but still works for the league and on Sirius XM's NFL radio show, and issued comments that has many on social media reacting with outrage. Haskins, a month short of his 25th birthday, tragically died on Saturday morning when he was hit by a car while in South Florida training for his upcoming season as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. When the subject was broached on Brandt's radio show, Brandt issued a lengthy series of insensitive comments about Haskins, to wit, he was a guy that was living to be dead. It was always something with Haskins. Maybe if he'd stayed in school a year, he wouldn't do silly things like jogging on a highway. Brandt mentioned in passing that any death is tragic before launching into more negative analysis of the career and behavior of the former Ohio State star and first-round pick of Washington who landed in Pittsburgh a year ago. Said Brandt on Saturday afternoon, This morning while learning of Dewayne Haskins' passing, I reacted carelessly and insensitively on a radio interview. I want to apologize to Mr. Haskins' family and anyone who heard my poor choice of words. I truly apologize. My heart goes out to his family at this difficult time. Haskins' passing, I reacted carelessly and insensitively on my radio show. I want to apologize to Mr. Haskins' family, anyone who heard my poor choice of words. I truly apologize. My heart goes out to his family at this difficult time. As with Brandt's first remarks, the initial report from ESPN's Adam Schefter was deemed offensive by many, including Cowboys ex Dez Bryant. And Cowboys ex Dez Bryant rips ESPN's Adam Schefter after Dewayne Haskins' tweet. Bryant, athletes for the record, the Adam Schefter wrote, "That's how a lot of people view us. We ain't but entertainment. If you let one treat you with disrespect, the rest will follow." Former Washington Commanders quarterback Dewayne Haskins died on Saturday morning after being hit by a car in South Florida. He was 24 years old. While most of the NFL community is in mourning, one notable member of that community, Dez Bryant, is outraged. According to WPLG 10 News, the driver of a dump truck struck Haskins around 7 a.m. Saturday morning on westbound I-595 at I-95. In the reporting tweet from ESPN's Adam Schefter, he wrote, Dewayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before struggling to catch on with Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL, died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida, per his agent Cedric Saunders. Haskins would have turned 25 years old on May the 3rd. Replied the former Cowboy star Bryant, athletes for the record. Adam Schefter wrote, "That's how a lot of people view us. We ain't but entertainment. if you let one treat you with disrespect, the rest will follow. Schefter has since removed the tweet. As collected by NewJersey.com, an assortment of reactions to Brandt's words, which figure to have consequences with his employers. ESPN's Mina Kimes, how is this real? Annie Apple, the mother of former Giants cornerback Eli Apple, Brandt is a gutless garbage pile of skin. From ESPN analyst Louis Reddick, who tweeted at Brandt, I really hope you didn't mean what you said about Dewayne. Former Steelers defensive lineman Cam Hayward, who also tweeted at Brandt, I do not know or will assume to, but please don't speak on my friend. He will be missed and your words are disgraceful. We are all hurting right now. Despite Brandt's apology, longtime DFW columnist has called for Brandt's firing from the NFL. So, with that being said, I'm going to go on the record and say Brandt should be removed from anything NFL related. You can't go around making comments like that. Okay, you apologized, but you were a 90-year-old ass man making comments like that, insensitive. I've always been taught this one thing: think before you speak. If you think before you speak, you won't have to apologize later for your words. The old saying goes, once the stone is thrown, can't take it back. Brandt, what you did was stupid, idiotic, moronic, and just downright disgraceful and distasteful. Sirius XM, and I'm pretty sure no one here will hear this from me, but those who may hear this podcast, do me a favor, share it. I'm even put the link on my Twitter feed, retweet it. Sirius XM, y'all need to remove Gil Brandt. And as far as the Cowboys are concerned, anything that he had to do with the Cowboys should be far removed. If I can use biblical reference, as far as the East is from the West, so should Brandt be removed from anything related to the Cowboys. So, to the NFL, it's up to you. Do your thing. He has to go. If you keep him, there's going to be some serious backlash. As far as Adam Schefter, someone that's usually known as a reputable man, you need to straighten up and fly right. It's taken a lifetime for you to build your reputation, but it only takes a few words to destroy it. Well, you're listening to In the Zone podcast with yours truly, Anthony Smith. I will be back. So stay tuned and stay locked in the zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Welcome back to In the Zone with Anthony. On a rainy night in Wichita, Kansas, "20 years after the last group of HBCU players was selected in the WNBA draft, Jackson State's Amisha Williams Holiday has added to that number." You know me, I'm going to show the HBCU some love on my podcast, and this is worthy of it. 20 years after the last group of HBCU players was selected in the WNBA draft, Jackson State's Amisha Williams Holiday has added to that number. The 6'4" senior from Gulfport, Mississippi, was selected in the third round, 25th overall, by the Indiana Fever on Monday night. She is the first WNBA draft pick from a historically black college or university since a trio of players were selected in the 2002 draft. Williams Holiday is the second highest drafted HBCU player in league history. Only Howard's Danique Graves, 15th overall, was a higher selection. Williams Holiday is a three-time first-team All-SWAC selection, 2020, 2021, and 2022. A three-time League Defensive Player of the Year, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And in 2022, became the first SWAC player since 2019 to win both SWAC Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year honors in the same season. Williams Holiday averaged 16.1 points and 11.2 rebounds and 2.9 blocks per game for her career. She scored in double figures 71 times, including final 39 consecutive games, 53 10-plus rebound games, 52 double-doubles, including 20 games, and 60 games of 2-plus blocks. Williams Holiday led the conference in scoring, 19.2 points per game, rebounds 11.4 rebounds per game, field goal percentage 57.5%, and blocks 2.7 blocks per game during the 2021-22 season. She recorded 22 double-doubles during the season, tied for sixth nationally, while scoring in double figures in every game, and had 22 games with at least 2 block shots. The Mississippi State transfer scored a career-high 33 points with 11 rebounds versus Florida A&M February the 12th, and scored 18 points with a season-high 21 rebounds and a career-high tying 7 block shots at Arkansas December 9th. Williams Holiday joins Southern's Jacqueline Winfield as the second SWAC woman drafted into the WNBA. There are currently no active WNBA players from HBCUs in the league. So congratulations to one Amisha Williams on her accomplishments on being drafted to the WNBA. I'm not done, however. There is more to come as I am shifting around from pretty much topic to topic. And as if this is not a surprise, you knew this was going to happen. You just knew this was coming. You had to be living under a rock not to see this coming. But here it is. As the NBA season is winding up, there will be some pink slips to be issued. That's right, some pink slips to be issued. Lakers fire Frank Vogel as head coach after disappointing 2021-22 campaign. The Los Angeles Lakers officially fired head coach Frank Vogel on Monday following the conclusion of the team's 2021-22 season, multiple sources reported. As Adrian Wojnarowski at Woj ESPN, the Lakers have dismiss Coach Frank Vogel, sources tell at Ramon Shelburne and me. It says, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Frank, both on and off the court. Lakers VP of Basketball Operations and General Manager Rob Pelinka said in a statement, Frank is a great coach and a good man. He will forever be grateful. We will forever be grateful to him for his work in guiding us to the 2019-20 NBA championship. This is an incredibly difficult decision to make, but one we feel is necessary at this point. All of us here wish Frank and his wonderful family all the best in the future. Rumors originally surfaced on Sunday during the Lakers' regular season finale against the Denver Nuggets that Vogel was being let go by the team. When asked about the news after the game, Vogel said he hadn't heard anything with regard to losing his job. He, of course, has now. Vogel kicked off his 3-season tenure with the Lakers by helping lead them to an NBA title in 2020. Some call it the Mickey Mouse Championship. Some call it the Bubble Championship. Whatever you want to call it, some is not giving much merit to it. After being booted from the first round of the playoffs in 2021, LA was favored to rebound in 2022 behind a blockbuster trade for former MVP Russell Westbrook and a strong cast of players led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The team instead floundered all season due to injuries and an inability to find any sustainable chemistry and missed the playoffs altogether. The Lakers were officially eliminated from playoff contention last week and ended their season with a 33-49 record. So, what are some of the things that the Lakers need? Well, Rob Pelinka says, Lakers need a strong voice in next head coach. The Los Angeles Lakers should be able to attract some high-profile names for their vacant head coaching position. General Manager Rob Pelinka, however, has a profile in mind for what he might be looking for. Speaking to the media Monday after the Lakers made Frank Vogel's firing official, Pelinka revealed that he wants to find in the next Lakers coach. The GM said the Lakers are in need of a strong voice that can inspire the team's superstars. Mark Medina at @MarkG_Medina tweeted this out. Lakers GM Rob Pelinka on what he's looking for in the next head coach. With obviously superstars on our team, he wants a strong voice that's able to inspire the players to play at the highest level of competition every night. This can easily be seen as Pelinka saying the Lakers need a big, respected personality to take charge of the locker room. Bringing in someone with an accomplished resume could be a necessary next step. That is especially true considering how the current roster apparently responded to Vogel and his staff this season. Pelinka's remarks shed some light on why the Lakers are reportedly targeting an NBA champion as coach. And as if that's not enough, how about this? Lakers players reportedly ignored teams' coaches. The Los Angeles Lakers were a mess from essentially the beginning of the season, but we're just starting to understand how bad things really were. Dan Woke and Broderick Turner of the Los Angeles Times did a deep dive into the Lakers' failed season, and it included a great number of details surrounding the lack of harmony behind the scenes. One detail stood out about how the Lakers were apparently responding to coach Frank Vogel. Opposing scouts observed Lakers players ignoring coaches' instructions according to Woke and Turner. The report does not make clear how frequently this occurred, but it certainly sounds as if it took place more than once. On one hand, this speaks poorly of the players. Clearly, they did not have the answers as the team struggled virtually all year long. Some of the Lakers' disjointed play certainly could have been down to players thinking they knew best when they really didn't. However, it also doesn't reflect well on Coach Frank Vogel. He struggled to forge a relationship with Russell Westbrook, and clearly some other players were not fans either. Many will point to his fundamentally flawed roster, which is fair, but he clearly did not make the most of what he had. The Lakers are likely to make a coaching change, and whoever replaces Vogel will probably have to find a way to work with Westbrook. Yeah, that right there could be a mystery within itself. So, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take another break. And when I come back, I will have some more news for you. So, stay locked in the zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. I got so much more to get at you. Stay tuned. Welcome back to In the Zone. A story that I shared on my twitch.tv stream. I want to share it here on my podcast. Because the first question I want to ask is, what in the hell is going on at Grambling State University? A while back, you remember Grambling State, Hugh Jackson for one, brought in Art Browse. Anybody remember the name Art Browse? Remember he was at Baylor? Lack of institutional control. As they say in the prison term, the inmates are running the asylum, while the coach is turning a blinded eye. And nobody wanted to touch him with a 2-foot pole, a 10-foot pole. And his only job since the Baylor job was a high school coaching gig. Even the Canadians didn't want him on their soil. But no, Hugh Jackson had to be the one. And how well did that last? How well did that go? All but 4 days. So now we fast forward, a story that came out last week. And the contributing writer for this story is a guy by the name of Duran Snyder. And he basically broke it down. And I am going to share this story. Cutting the entire volleyball team is the latest sign Grambling State may be losing its mind. With the failed hiring of former Baylor coach Art Browse along with this latest move, it's clear that the university's athletics department is putting the mission of winning over the mission of molding and developing young black adults. I don't know what's happening within the Grambling State University Athletics Department, but someone needs to request a wellness check on them. Once again, let me run that back again. I don't know what's happening within the Grambling State University Athletics Department, but someone needs to run a wellness check on them. Yeah. Did they fall and bump their heads? Is something in the water? Have they gotten a hold of bad edibles? Told you to leave them Delta 8 and Delta 10 gummies alone. Whatever the case, those folks are straight up tripping. First, they hired Art Browse as an assistant football coach in February. None of the NCAA's top, not 10, not 25, not 50, not 100, but none of the NCAA's top 260 colleges has touched the former Baylor coach for 6 years since a blistering 51-page report said his incurious attitude toward potential criminal conduct by his student athletes was deeply troubling. The ensuing howls of protest surprised exactly no one except the administration, and Browse resigned 4 days after being announced. Evidence beforehand suggested that new athletic director Travion Scott might have brought a clown show to town. Day before announcing Browse was hired, a school spokesperson claimed any such talk was just a rumor. But the latest goings on have convinced undecided jurors, and the verdict is in. Grambling's athletics department is crazy AF. Those of you who know acronyms know exactly what that means. New women's volleyball coach Chelsea Lucas has cut the entire, not just a few players, but the entire team. That's right, all 19 players, just like that. No more practice, no more competition, and no more scholarships. We can't determine the worst part of this situation because everything about it is foul. The clowns have morphed into the Three Stooges: Scott, Lucas, and GSU Athletics Communications Director Brian Howard. I hate to say out with the old but in with the new a little bit, Howard told KSLA. At the end of the day, Coach Lucas has a goal, has a vision. We have a goal as an institution and a vision as well to win. And that's first and foremost, he said. Either he can't hear himself or he's tone deaf. Surely he's literate, but he can't read the times. Neither can Scott, who sounds hella petty over college athletes recently earned right to easily switch schools. Just as the transfer portal empowers student athletes, our coaches are also empowered to make the decisions they deem necessary to advance their programs, Scott said in a statement according to KSLA. Yeah, and Coach Hugh Jackson decided he needed Browns to advance the football program. How'd that work? 4 days. Scott and his whack-ass judgment need to take a whole row of seats. Lucas, hired in February, is a Grambling alum and former Southwestern Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year. But she's proof that all skin folk ain't kin folk. She's as cold and calculating as the most callous Caucasian. Imagine if a white coach came in and asked the entire roster, she'd be dragged through the Twitterverse. Lucas deserves that same energy we'd have for Becky. Contrary to Howard's contention, winning games shouldn't be first and foremost when Grambling describes its goal and vision as an institution. HBCUs are in the business to mold and develop young black adults. The mission isn't to mimic the money-making sports factories that play on ESPN and network TV. Grambling isn't supposed to resemble SEC powerhouses that don't give a damn about players beyond the football field or basketball court. I have to say I'm actually sick to my stomach, sophomore defensive specialist Destiny Johnson wrote on Twitter. All the time, energy, and dedication I put into the volleyball program here at Grambling State has been thrown right back in my face. Not that it matters, but the team didn't suck. The Tigers finished 8-8 in conference play, 11-17 overall, good for 5th place out of 12 teams. Sophomore Jada Taylor was named SWAC preseason libero defensive player of the year. Junior Jillian Jones was on the preseason All-SWAC second team. 4 of the team's top 5 scorers were set to return, including Alexis Everett, a freshman last year. If Lucas is such a great coach, she should have taken what she inherited and built upon it. Get to know the players and give them a chance to learn and grow under her stewardship. Instead, Howard said, Lucas has 14 or 15 quality players coming on board. Presumably, some hail from the conference foe, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, where Lucas coached for 3 years and went 13-3 in the SWAC last season. We know the vast majority of athletic scholarships are guaranteed and must be renewed annually. And we know a few underachieving players in any sport might quietly be sent packing each year. But short of gross misconduct or academic shortcomings, there's no excuse for kicking an entire team to the curb. As of Friday morning, the volleyball roster found on Grambling's website didn't list any players. Only an error message appears. Judging by Lucas's actions and insight from one of her former players, Simone Joyner, the error applies to Scott. Not just for hiring Lucas, but letting her run buck wild. Once again, the contributor to this story is an award-winning columnist and a principal of Black Door Ventures Incorporated. Deron Snyder is a veteran journalist, StratCom professional, author, and adjunct professor, a native of Brooklyn and an alpha from HU. You know, he resides in metropolitan D.C. with his wife Vanessa, mother of their daughters Sierra and Sequoia. To learn more, please visit blackdoorventures.com/Deron. So there you have the goings-ons at Grambling State University. To the 19 players that were cut, those that have eligibility, I hope you latch on with a school that plays against Grambling State. I really do. The best way to get back at someone for their misdeeds, so to speak, would be to transfer to a team. Because look at it, you've been cut. Find which school is the best fit as long as it's fitting in with playing against Grambling State University. Which school will give you the best opportunity to succeed? But make sure wherever you go, Jackson State is an opponent. Grambling State is an opponent. So you can let coach know exactly where she went wrong. Because from what I'm hearing, the program at Arkansas Pine Bluff wasn't all that great. So you're going to bring mediocrity to a program where all you had to do was sit down and get to know the 19 players that you had inherited. Well, I want to say that this has been an edition of In the Zone Sports with Anthony. Trust me, I will be back in the few days to come and bring you some more sports talk. But until the next time, always remember to stay locked in the zone. This is yours truly, Anthony Smith. I'm out. Be blessed.